Australia is a captivating country known for its unique geography, diverse culture, and robust economy. Australia is the only country in the world that covers an entire continent. That beautiful country boasts a wide range of breathtaking landscape, from the iconic outback to the stunning coastal regions. Home to a vibrant multicultural society, Australia is a melting pot of tradition and influences with a rich indigenous heritage that adds to its cultural richness. As of 2023, the male population of Australia is estimated to be around 12.6 million, making up approximately 49.2% of the country's total population. This reflects the relatively balanced gender distribution, with just a slight predominance of males in the overall population. Meanwhile, the female population of Australia is estimated to be around 13 million, accounting for 50.8% of the total population. The slight majority of women in the population can be attributed to factors such as higher life expectancy and the historical trend of slightly more female birth compared to male birth. Australia is the world's sixth largest country with a total land area of approximately 2.97 million square miles, equal to 7.69 million square kilometers. This vast expanse encompasses a diverse range of landscapes, including desert, tropical rainforests, large mountains, and pristine coastlines. Australia boasts an impressive coastline that stretches for over 16,000 miles, equal to 25,760 kilometers, making it the sixth longest coastline in the world. This extensive coastline is home to some of the country's most iconic natural wonders, such as the Great Barrier Reef and the 12 Apostles. Despite its larger size, Australia is a highly centralized country with the majority of its population concentrated in a few major cities along the east and southeast coasts. This uneven distribution of the population has led to significant regional disparities in terms of economic development, infrastructure, and access to resources. Inflation is defined as a persistent and sustained increase in the aggregate or average price level of goods and services in an economy. This means the cost of living goes up and purchasing power goes down, as more money is needed to buy the same amount of goods. In other words, inflation causes the value of money to decrease. When price rise, the same amount of money buy less than before.
Type of inflation. In modern economy, inflation can be categorized to three main types. Firstly, is demand pull inflation. This type of inflation occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds their supply. It can happen in a growing economy, where the consumers and businesses spend more, increasing overall demand. An example is when a popular new product is released and everyone wants to buy it, causing prices to rise. Then, for the second is cost push inflation. This type of inflation happens when the cost of production for goods and services increase. Higher production costs might be due to rising the prices of raw material, labor, or other inputs. For example, if the price of oil rises significantly, the cost of transportation and production increases, leading to higher price for many products. Lastly is monetary inflation. This type of inflation is caused by an increase in the money supply in the economy. When more money is available, people have more to spend, which can drive demand and prices. Central bank can influence this through the policies like lowering interest rates or printing more money. Statistic of inflation. Based on the data, it shows that the early years 2013 to 2017, the inflation rate fluctuated moderately, staying within range 1.5% to 2.7%. This period reflects a relative stable economic environment with a manageable inflation. During 2018 to 2019, the inflation rate remained stable around 1.9% in 2018 but decreased to 1.6% in 2019, indicating slight deflationary pressures before the pandemic. Due to the pandemic impact in 2020, a sharp drop to 0.7% in 2020 reflect the significant economic slowdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic with reduced demand and economic activity. When the post-pandemic recovery comes 2021 to 2022, a sharp increase to 2.8% in 2021 and further spike to 6.6% in 2022 show that significant inflationary pressures as the economic recovered, driven by supply chain issues, increases demand, and other factors. In the years 2023, although the inflation rate decreased to 5.6, it remained high, indicating ongoing inflationary challenge despite some moderation from the previous year.
Issue of inflation. The inflation rate in Australia has been influenced by various issues including the COVID-19 recovery, which involved significant domestic and global stimulus and also contribute to the surge in inflation. Putin's invasion of Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, which began in February 2022, disrupted the global energy market. Supply chain difficulties and ongoing supply chain issues related to the pandemic continue to drive up costs for business and consumer, and also the global financial outlook, with concern about potential recession, also play a role in high inflation environment. Despite this challenge, the RBA has expressed optimism that inflation will continue to decline, with expectation of it tracking down to 5.5% by mid-2023 and falling to 3.5% by the end 2023. However, the peak year for inflation in Australia is at the end of 2022, with the Reserve Bank of Australia anticipating headline inflation to peak around 7.775% by the end of the year. Australia, being an open trade exports economy, is significantly impacted by change in global demand for its goods and services. For example, in the first quarter of 2021, Australia's iron ore export to China surged by 65% a year to 38 billion due to high global price and strong Chinese demand. Iron ore made up 38% of Australia's total goods exports and 77% of China's goods imports, up from 20% and 48% respectively in the same period the previous year. China's strong economic growth, expected to reach 8 to 9% in 2021, further boosted demand for Australian iron ore. Despite the challenge like high shipping costs, a strong Australian dollar, and COVID-19, China remained a crucial market in March 2023. Australia's iron ore export to China increased by 24.3%, resulting in a 15.3 billion trade surplus. This surge contributed to the high inflation in 2022 by raising production costs and price, which were passed on to the consumer. Not just that, the Australian job market has been very strong with many job openings and low unemployment. This situation gives workers the power to demand for higher wage. To cover these higher costs, businesses often raise their price, making things more expensive, creating a cycle where price and wage continuously increase, leading to the inflation. And next we go for the definition of unemployment. Unemployment occurs when people who are in the working age group are able and willing to work but are unable to find a suitable job. Unemployment represents the number of people in the workforce who want to work but are unable to get jobs. Unemployment is often used to assess how healthy a country's economy is.
First is type of unemployment. First type of unemployment is classical unemployment. Classical unemployment occurs when the wages are set above the equilibrium level, causing the supply of labor to exceed the demand. This, this can be due to minimum wage laws, unions, or other wage setting mechanism. If the Australian government raised the minimum wage significantly, businessmen might reduce hiring because they cannot afford the higher wage cost. This could lead to classical unemployment as more workers are willing to work at a higher wage, but fewer jobs are available. Second one is frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment is the short-term unemployment that occurs when people are between jobs or entering the labor force for the first time. It's natural form of unemployment as people transition between jobs. A recent university graduate in Melbourne looking for their first job in tech industry is an example of frictional unemployment. They may spend a few months applying for position and attending interviews before securing a job. Next is seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment happens when people are unemployed at certain time of the year because their job depends on the season. In Queensland, fruit picking jobs are highly seasonal. Workers employed during the harvest season might be unemployed during off-season period of when there is no fruit to pick. Next is structural unemployment. Structural unemployment occurs when there is a mismatch between the skill of unemployed and skill needed for the available jobs. This can be due to technological change, shift the economy, or other structural factor. The decline of the manufacturing industry in Australia, particularly in regions like South Australia where car manufacturing plants have closed, has left many workers with specific skills unemployed. These workers may not have the skill required for jobs in growing sectors like IT or healthcare, leading to structural unemployment. Other than that is technological unemployment. Technological unemployment is caused by technological advancement that make certain jobs obsolete. The adoption of automation and artificial intelligence in sectors like banking and retail can lead to technological unemployment. For instance, the increased use of self-service checkout in supermarkets reduce the need for cashier. For the last one is cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment is linked to the economic cycle. During period of economic downturn and service decrease, leading to a reduction in production and the workforce. During the global financial crisis in 2008 to 2009, Australia experienced a slowdown in economic activity leading to job losses in various sectors such as finance and construction. The rise in unemployment due to economic downturn is an example of cyclical unemployment. Next is statistic of unemployment in Australia from 2013 to 2023. In 2013, unemployment rate was 5.6%. This was a period of global economic recovery following the 2008 financial crisis. Australia, being closely tied to global markets, especially commodities, was affected by global economic conditions. In 2014, unemployment increased to 6.1%. This could be attributed to factors such as slower global growth affecting demand for Australian exports, particularly commodities like iron ore and coal, which are crucial to Australia's economy. From 2015 and 2017, in 2015, unemployment remained high at 6%. Economic growth was moderate and there were ongoing concerns about the global economic outlook. In 2016, unemployment decreased slightly to 5.7%. This could indicate some stabilization in the economy, possibly due to the government policies or sector-specific improvement. In 2017, there are further decrease to 5.5%. Australia economy started showing sign of recovery with sector like service and construction picking up. In 2018, unemployment continued to decline to 5.3%. This period saw stronger economic growth supported by global demand for commodities and domestic infrastructure spending. In 2019, the Australia continued improvement to 5.2%. The Australian economy benefit from low interest rates, increased infrastructure project and stable consumer confidence. For 2020, unemployment rose significantly to 6.5% due to COVID-19 pandemic. Lockdown and restrictions severely impact economic activity across sectors, leading to job losses. In 2021, unemployment decreased to 5.1% as Australia managed to control the pandemic to some extent, leading to gradual reopening of the economy recovery in jobs. For 2022 and 2023, unemployment remained stable at 3.7% in both years. This indicates a strong recovery phase post-pandemic, supported by government stimulus measures, vaccination rollout, and reopening of international borders.
Australia faced significant challenge regarding to the unemployment issue. In 2014 and 2015, the national unemployment rate hovered around 6%, which was higher than the historical average for Australia. The rate of unemployment income increased due to end of the mining boom. During the early 2000 and 2012, Australia experienced a significant mining boom, driven by high global demand for commodities like iron ore, coal, and natural gas, particularly from China. However, by 2013, commodity price began to decline sharply as global supply caught up with demand and economic growth in China slowed. The decline in commodity price led to a reduction in mining investment. Major mining projects were either completed or put on hold, leading to decreased capital expenditure in the sector. Due to this issue, it gave a direct impact and indirect impact. The mining sector and associated industries such as equipment, manufacturing, construction, and transport saw significant job losses. Many regions in Western Australia and Queensland, which had benefited from the boom, were particularly hard hit. Meanwhile, the indirect impact is the downturn in mining also affected other sectors indirectly reliant on mining activities, leading to a broader economic slowdown in regions heavily dependent on the industry. The issue of unemployment arose back in 2020 due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. In response to the pandemic, Australia, like many other countries, implemented strict lockdowns and restrictions. These measures were necessary to control the spread of the virus, but had immediate and severe economic consequences. Many businesses in sectors such as hospitality, tourism, retail, and entertainment were forced to close temporarily or permanently due to reduced consumer demand and operational restrictions. Not just that, disruption to global and domestic supply chains further exacerbated economic challenge affecting manufacturing and logistics sectors. The lockdown measures led to a sharp increase in unemployment as businesses laid off employees to cut costs or ceased operation altogether. Sectors directly impacted by restrictions, such as restaurant, hotel, and non-essential retail, saw particularly high rates of job losses. Many workers who remain employed face reduced hours or shifts, contributing to underemployment. This trend was prominent in the sector like casual employment, where hours are variable and dependent on businesses' demand.
In conclusion, Australia faced both inflation and unemployment challenge, but these two are interrelated. Government intervention can play an important role in reducing this issue through fiscal and monetary policy. Closely monitor these economic indicators, Australia can achieve sustainable growth and improve the well-being of its people.